Welcome back to Brooby's Garage. Today's episode 3 of this RX 4929 project. Restoration, maybe not, resto mod, probably more like it. Armed with my weapon of choice here. Let's get into it. Right, so we've been over the whole car. We know there's a lot of issues here, especially that rear quarter. And today, I'm going to try my hand at actually making a major patch panel here and seeing what we can do. And yeah, it's probably time that we cut it out and cut out the patch panel. And well, wish me luck. I've never done anything this extensive and probably this noticeable, so to speak. That if I make an absolutely horrendous job of it, that it's really going to stand out after the car's finally painted. So. Let me just walk you through how we're going to do it, or how I'm going to do it, based on some learnings I've looked on other YouTube videos, and then we'll do it. So this is the panel that we're going to replace. As you can see, it's total dog's bollocks, basically. But what I've done here is I've sand away the primer with a special disc. Basically, it's like a fiber disc, not a flat disc or anything. So it just removes a lot of the junk and paint and rust off first without removing a lot of the metal, because we want to keep that metal as thick as possible since we're going to be welding to it. What I've done here is I've drawn a blue line, and that'll be where my patch panel goes to, and then I've drawn another green line here, and that green line's where I'm going to cut here. And the reason for that is I was really nervous about lining all this up and stuff like that, but I watched a video last week, and geez, I forget what the guy's name was, Fitzy Fabrication or something like that. And he has a method by where you retain some of the metal here, you tack it all into place, you cut this out first, and you weld in your patch panel, and then you cut down on a 45-degree angle, and then you push the patch panel in, and then you weld it on. Then this little strip that's left, it peels away, and then you've basically been able to follow a body line and put it in nice and properly. So that's what I'm going for. Whether it works or not, it's another thing, because the dude that does that method is, you can tell when you watch videos of people, they know what they're talking about and stuff, and he definitely has been doing it for a long time and knows what he's talking about. So, and I've done it for a total of 0 minutes, so we'll see how a total amateur puts his practices into play. I've got the patch panel here, and what you can see that I've done with the patch panel is taken away all the paint or any rust or anything like that, again with that same material base wheel, and I've just also shaped it. So I've given it some shape, because that body, if you just put a flat panel in there, it just won't look right at all. And I just shape it by basically having this here and just putting some pressure on it and rolling it over that, and it's given it the shape that it needs to do. So yeah, pretty much all that's left to do now is cut a massive chunk out of the rear guard on this thing and hope for the best. I mean, quite honestly, it can't get any worse than it is now, in my opinion. So yeah, we'll see how we go. All right, let's get cutting. All right, here we go. This is where we're going to cut. Now, as always, safety first, eye protection, hand protection, and foot protection, I guess. All right, no time like the present. Let's get cutting. All right, yeah, job done. So we've got the little bit cut out there. We've got the new patch panel in, and I think that is looking absolutely spot on. So a little bit of bog up the top here, and should be right for paint, really. But no, of course not. We've got some tech screws in there just so it holds it in place, because I don't have a fourth hand, and I'm going to have one hand in the welder and one hand trying to push like this to close the gap to weld, and that just holds it in place there, and they're easy to fill in later. But the overall shape looks good. Now what we need to do basically is I'm going to come across here and weld just little tack welds in certain places to hold it up against that last bit that's going to be cut out there. Then what I'm going to come in is I'm going to cut on a 45-degree angle down. I'm going to start on this corner actually here. I'm going to cut here and then cut here. And then what I'll do is I'll push this panel in, and because I've cut on a 45-degree angle, what will happen is that this panel will then line up perfectly with the gap cut on that 45-degree. And yeah, I'll weld it again, and then I'll just repeat that process all the way around. And in theory, then what we should be left with is that little strip all the way around will just fall away, and then this panel will be perfectly in there. So, and then yeah, grind the weld away, and then just a tiny bit of filler here and there to finish it off. So, but as you can see, I mean, that panel was wrecked, and this panel is absolutely nice and smooth. So we're going to do some work with obviously the shaping in that, but I mean, as you can see there, it's a hell of a lot better than what that panel was. So as long as we can get this to work, it might be all right. And then we just get the dolly and the slapper file up here and give it a go. All right, time to do some welding. Progress. So I've jumped ahead a little bit. As what happens, unfortunately, when you're trying to do YouTube stuff by yourself. But we can see here is, this is what I welded before the patch panel. You can see how it's just proud of the panel, but here is now, if I get in focus and in frame, here you can see it's dead level with it, and that's because I'm cutting down. So what I'm basically doing is I'm taking the angle grinder and I'm cutting down on a 45-degree angle, and what's happening is then this back piece that was sort of the bit that was holding it all in place, that was welded to it, peels away, and then what you're left with is a patch panel that is lined up perfectly. So I start always on a corner, so I've started on this corner, and yeah, and there's no, that's flush, that is all flush there, so that's great. So here it's not dead flush, but that's because there's a dent on the panel, and same with here, it's not dead flush because there's a dent in, so it's a high spot and a little low spot, but that'll be easy to work out with a dolly. But the rest of this is actually going pretty well. So I'm going to continue out to about here, and then I might start down here, and I'm pretty happy with that so far. And here is the almost finished product. So as you can see, these joins are perfectly in line with the panel. Not even fingernail will grab that. That is great. That's patched all the way in. So now what the job is to go bzz, 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 all the way across and completely fill that in with metal. Grind all the welds off. If there's any pinholes or anything, you know, you can just put more metal in, grind it down, and when it's perfect, it's ready to fill. So I'm actually really happy with that. Yeah, I didn't think I could do anything like that, but obviously it's come out okay. Two big thank yous for this would be that guy from Fitzy's Fabrication, I think it is. That method worked unbelievable. And the second one goes out to Unimig, because this welder is just absolutely killer. I always said that my welding's not that great, and people have seen over on videos over the years on Full Boost that some of my welding's a bit and I always just thought it was just, I wasn't the best welder at all, which is also true. I'm not the best welder, but ever since getting the two Unimig machines, I got another one down there, which is my new TIG, and I've got the MIG here, I'm able to, what I want to do happens now. So it goes a long way to saying that, you know, they say a poor tradesman blames his tools, but in my case, that old CIG welder was complete junk, and the Chinese AC/DC TIG hiding over in the corner over there, sure, I've had it a long, long time and that, but I knew something was off in the AC and that, and yeah, there's no chance I could have done anything like this with my old welder. So if you're looking at doing any projects or whatever, highly recommend Unimig. You cannot go wrong. You can get them at City Tools, Total Tools, all those kind of places and that, so they're everywhere. Got heaps of parts and that for them. So all right, time to do some more welding, and we might reconvene after I've ground it all down. So we've got the rear quarter pretty much done, which is fantastic. Done, as in it's welded in, but it looks good enough. Something else I did was replace this patch panel here in the boot, which you would have just seen now. I had started repairing it. If I just go down here and grab this, I had started to repair it, and it is absolutely, well, it doesn't look almost too bad from the back, but it was shot. So once the pilot goes, but something else even more important is a couple of new arrivals down here. So yeah, track down a couple of doors, and let's have a better look at these now. They are really good. So this rear door's got a little crease in it here. Might have to just fill that because it's going to be hard to get to try and even tap out, but that's okay. It's a tiny little ding. Doesn't even look like there's any rust in the thing. I think there might be a little bubble down here, but whatever, that'll be an easy repair. And then the front door also looks immaculate, except for a little bit of rust down the bottom, which is pretty standard for every sort of thing from the 70s. You can be pretty hard pressed to find any car from the 70s without rust down the bottom of the doors like that. So that is awesome. Big thanks to Vince, who had a set of doors. That's going to help us to no end, because as you know, these doors are cactus. So no time like the present. Let's rip these doors off and get these ones on and just see how it sits and press on. I do have a plan of 30 panels in 30 days, so to speak. So my idea is that if I can put a patch panel in this car every day for 30 days, the bodywork should be done. So all I'm looking to do is get it to this sort of stage where I've just welded it in and I've ground all the welds down. So I haven't even looked at this yet of you know, shaping it to make sure it's right and pulling out any high and low spots and filler and all that. All I want to do is I want to come to the car, and I mean this door's going obviously, but I just want to look at bits like this, cut that out, or things like where the sill's missing here. You know, for this rear section, that might be okay. Today, I want to replace the sill, all that sill there. And, you know, I think if I probably need to go through my list and work out just how many patch jobs there are to do. But I think if we write down a list and do one a day for 30 days, we should pretty much knock the car over. And I don't want this thing to start and then sit around for another 2 years. The RX-7 just took way too long to build, unfortunately, because of, well, you know why, sort of thing. You know, had a huge amount of delays with parts here and there and trying to organise stuff and that. So I don't want this to become one of those type of projects where it's like you get 80% done and then it takes another 6 months to do the rest of it. Want to get this knocked over now, so let's get the doors in, let's have a look, and maybe let's write a bit of a list on what we need to do. Once the glass goes in these, they weigh a bit more. Ooh. Oh, yes. Look at that. Oh, that is smooth. It's a little dent there, low spot. A little bit of some rust there. It's almost surface rust, not too bad. But this is smooth. Those lines are smooth. Look at it now, all lining up. That is fantastic. So, need to move this door that way a bit. You can see the panel gaps a bit further here compared to, Well, obviously I haven't lined up and it's not all the bolts in here, but this one lines up not too bad. This one needs to go that way a little bit because it's just a bit tight around here. Now, a little bit of that also may have to do with this fantastic rear quarter repair. So I may have to live with this being a bit tight here, but for now, wow, I am super happy with that. Right, so time to keep on keeping on with this thing. Now I am actually racing at Heathcote Park this Sunday after our false start last week. Rained a lot last Saturday, and the guys at Heathcote Park have a roll racing sort of series, and that was meant to be on the Saturday, so that Saturday got moved to the Sunday basically, which meant they still ran drags, but it was for 3 hours or something, and I live almost 2.5 hours from the track, so 5-hour round trip to do 3 hours of testing. I'm not in that big of a hurry to only do 3 hours testing. So what I really need to do with this thing next is I need to go to a body panel shop, like a paint supply shop. There's a couple of pretty good ones nearby, so I need to go down there. I've got absolutely plenty of tips off my mate Glenn, who you might have seen before. We built his Bridgeport engine many moons ago in the on full boost, but he's given me plenty of tips on what to do in regards to the panel repair stuff. So in terms of what I'm going to do with the car based on Glenn's recommendations, I know words like epoxy and high fill and stuff like that, but what they actually mean, I don't really know. I'm not a panel dude. Glenn sprayed a couple of my own cars for me before. I've been there and I've seen how he does it. I've painted stuff now and I can prep stuff, primer, a little bit of filler and stuff, yeah, sure. But he said essentially, who knows what this is, if this is epoxy or whatever, who knows how long it's been on the car for. So he recommends taking this down with 120, the whole lot, get rid of it to as much as you can, to epoxy the whole car again, to then do the panel repairs, bog those over, spray those repair areas with polyester, which is apparently like a spray-on putty almost type of thing. Then get all that right, and then epoxy over those repair areas again, and then hit the whole car with 240, then high fill the car, then hit the car again with 240 with 320, all dry sanding, and then 600 wet, 800 wet, and then base color, and then clear. So I've got clear, the end. I don't have any of this other stuff. So I did buy a sander, and this one's like 265 mil long. It's 105 mil wide, because you want a long, flat sort of surface area in that. But Glenn said no, get a what they call like a speed file, like a proper one, and I think they're more like about 400 mil long. So it's almost, it's 1.5 times longer than this, and it's at 70 mil. It's narrower. So he said if I was to use the DA, it'll become really streaky. So I don't want that, of course. So I was going to use this, but obviously I don't want to, tempt fate or do stuff that I shouldn't do, or might not be the best. So what I'm going to do is I'll go down the panel repair shop and get everything I can, talk to those guys and what they recommend, what brands they recommend or whatever, and I'll see maybe if they want to be on camera or not. Maybe they can walk us through what an actual, proper paint supply shop says for like an at-home person of what they should be using or steps they should be doing, and then yeah, we'll get some supplies together and take it from there. I've sent the engineer a message. We talked about that obviously last week, so I've sent him a message this week just to say from what I can find, the Barra with attachments and stuff is about 235 odd kilograms. 1.8 litre engine that comes in this. I can't find anything anywhere. I don't know if anyone's got an old workshop manual that might say the actual weight of the engines. Those workshop manuals and stuff generally say weights of engines in them. I can find plenty of information for a rotary. So a rotary dressed, so to speak, with all the all the stuff on it, it's about 150 kilos. This car was 10 kilos heavier than an RX-4, so my assumption is 10 kilos in the engine, because they were all the same basically, other than that in the engine bay. So maybe that means the 1800cc engine's 160 odd kilograms. So I've left that information with him, and he's going to get back to me on if he thinks that a Barra is doable. If he does, then yeah, I'll go, next episode we'll be going down to the body repair shop and running through everything I need to fix this car. The episode after, we'll probably go and have a good chat to the engineer and see maybe if he also wants to be on camera, and he can work on, and he can tell me exactly what I need to do, where I need to weld, what I need to weld, what thickness it needs to be, and a few other questions in that. So maybe if you've got any questions that you would like to ask an engineer on what's legal, what's not, what can you get away with and stuff like that, put it down in the comments. And yeah, when it comes time to having a chat in a couple of weeks, I can get some of those questions answered for you. So all right, I think that's that might be almost it for us in this one. Lots of progress here. This is long work. So anyone who complains about their car being in a panel shop for a long time and it looks like total basket case, understand that I probably spent, that probably took maybe a couple of hours to cut out, to make sure the panel was right, to do all the stuff, to spot weld it, to grind it back, to fill in a couple of the holes, to grind it back and all that kind of stuff. The one in the boot took a couple of hours, and that's just a tiny panel like this big basically. I had to sort of shape it to get the ridges in and cut it all out. This stuff takes time, people, and that's why panel repair shops that do this prestige work are so expensive. I'm doing this stuff and it's probably going to look good from 30 foot away under the street lights maybe, or in the dark, which is all I'm going for, which is why I'm not sending it to a pro to get it done professionally, because I'm not overly concerned about, I just want it somewhat clean and a little bit straight. But if you want to invest in a car like this and you want it done right by someone, it's why it costs $30,000 plus to get the panel repair work done, probably even before you put paint in. Paint's probably another 20 grand, you know, so there's huge amounts of labor involved in this stuff. And, you know, if someone's working at $100 an hour, you know, it easily all adds up pretty quickly. So next step, yeah, I'm going to go down and get some panel repair stuff. I'm going to keep on doing all this. I know my mate said to block it all back and epoxy it now, but I feel like I'm on a roll and I've got the momentum with doing all the panel repair stuff. I really want to get that out of the way first. So I think that's what I'm going to continue with, doing little patch panels where I can, one of those a day. You know, the old adage of an hour in the garage a day goes a long, long way and adds up is true. Got to keep on doing it, get all these panel repair stuff done, and then at least I can look back on the car and go, right, you know, all the stuff that's cosmetic, that's ruined on this car is done. Then I can go to work on fitting whatever engine we happen to fit. Hopefully by that time we have a plan. So yeah, really looking forward to it. Hoping the RX-7 does what it needs to do today, because you're watching it today and I'm at the track today. So there'll be a debrief video on that next week as well. Might be 2 videos, so it might be a debrief on that on, I don't know, Friday night, and then we might do another video on this on Sunday. So again, hoping to get a video out on this every single week. You know, you guys watch it, thanks a lot. You know, you're watching the content, you're commenting and that, and it means a lot. So it's up to me to get the content out for you guys to watch. That's what you deserve. So I will always do my best. So yeah, until next time, thanks for watching. I'll see you then.